Obviously, next up is West Ham. And James, I don't think it's going to be as easy as Nottingham Forest because, as we all know, this is their cup final, this fixture in the calendar. So how are you kind of feeling about playing West Ham tomorrow?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm always a little bit nervous when Spurs play, like pretty much every game, honestly. That's just how I am. But yeah, it's obviously tough. It's their cup final. It's a night game. Everyone's probably going to have had a few jars before. It's 8 o'clock kickoff, isn't it? Or 7:45. So it's going to be a fierce atmosphere. Let's not get that wrong. But listen, we've had a bit of luck against West Ham recently. Obviously, we beat them 3-1 at home. Away from home, yeah, we had a couple of losses, haven't we? But at the same time, look, we're a changed outfit from last season. Conte's had more time. We've had more signings come in. We've got rid of the deadwood because we were playing, don't forget, in some of these fixtures, we were playing the likes of Ndombele, Lo Celso. I mean, players that genuinely didn't even want to be at the club. So we've got a team now. We've got an 18 that really want to play. They're chomping at the bit, even the 5 subs that want to come on. So I expect to change Tottenham that would normally go to West Ham and maybe not come out of the shell, if that makes sense. And I see us scraping it. I'm not sure if I give my score prediction yet. I'll wait, but I am predicting a Spurs win, and I'm looking forward to it. But that atmosphere, let's be honest, it is going to be fierce there tomorrow night, and hopefully we start well, because that's the important thing. Like we just said, we don't start well, the atmosphere ramps up. West Ham get an early goal, we just know what's coming. But if we can start well and get an early goal and silence that crowd, that is the perfect start for me.
That would be class. I would be well up for that. But obviously, also, we know as well, Dara, that Romero is rumoured to be back for tomorrow. So that makes me a lot happier that I won't have to necessarily see Sanchez, because this is the type of opponent I don't really want to see him. So to have Romero back in the squad is great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely massive, huge. I think having your starting back line against any big side, we'll just about call West Ham a big side. They're lucky we're calling them that. But yeah, look, it's a big game, to be fair. I know it's a bigger game for them than us, but it's still a big game, and it's a game you definitely don't want to be drawing or losing 100% because you can't be listening to them. So yeah, like I agree with James. I expect us to win. Won't be a highest scoring affair. Probably very, very tight game. A lot of crunching tackles, and that's what you want in a London derby. But yeah, Romero is exactly the kind of guy you want in those games. And I think exactly like we've been saying in the show, the likes of Basuma and Richarlison, I don't know, is that maybe changing the team too much for Conte's liking? He doesn't really like the chopping and changing unless he absolutely has to. But maybe that's the perfect game, especially for Richarlison. I think that's really a good game for him to be playing. And yeah, I'd be worried a little bit about West Ham's midfields, possibly. I know they like to play with kind of a 3 as well. So yeah, I would think we would be changing something in the midfield tomorrow, especially with Bentancur's injury. So yeah, but I'm confident going in tomorrow, I have to say.
I like it. And I think you're right. Obviously, we've spoken about how our midfield have been overrun. I mean, James, do you think this is the combination with Bentancur, like Dara said, out? We will finally see Højbjerg and Basuma. And how do you think that dynamic works? Obviously, we know that Højbjerg for Denmark likes to go forward, but for Spurs, he isn't really in that kind of zone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I mean, I think Basuma is definitely going to play by the sounds of Bentancur's concussion. But Basuma, like you said, is going to be the one that gets forward, and Højbjerg's going to sit back, soak up the pressure. But also don't forget, Souček and Rice, 2 powerhouses, 2 workhorses. They're going to really, really be trying to dominate that midfield. And I think Basuma, this is the perfect game for him because he's going to track them down. He's going to run his socks off and really cause problems. But also, as we know, Basuma is a threat going forward. He does like an assist. He does like a long shot. So keep an eye on for that as well. But I just think it's the perfect game for Basuma to come in. I really, really do. He's dominated teams like this before. I remember even him going away against Chelsea with Brighton, and he absolutely tore even Jorginho apart. I mean, this guy is a real player. I think it's going to be one of the signings of the season. I'm saying it now. I think a lot of people say it as well. But I just genuinely think when he beds into this team, it's going to change Spurs from maybe a team that's putting in average performances and winning to a team that's really going to be putting in great performances, dominating midfield and winning games comfortably. And I think Højbjerg and Basuma, I said it before, is the perfect balance in midfield. I think before I was saying Bentancur and Basuma, but with Bentancur obviously out, I think this is the second best for me. And I would honestly back us to dominate Rice and Souček tomorrow.
Oh, I fully hope so. And I think you're right. Like you said, as much as I want it to be bentancur and Basuma, because obviously we know how talented bentancur is. And I think Højbjerg is class because he has put some great performances in. I just think bentancur has that little bit of edge. But again, like you said, it's great to have that combination now. You can mix it up week in, week out. So it'd be very interesting. But Darren, I'm going to come with the big question. I know we've spoken about it a little bit. Is tomorrow the day Richarlison starts? I know you spoke about it just briefly just a minute ago, but will this be the time?
Do you know what? If I'm speaking personally, do I want him to start? I think 100%, but I don't think he will start tomorrow. If I was to predict what Conte will do, just by the sounds of what Conte said after the game about how nice a guy Sonny is, and he'd always wanted him to be part of his football philosophy. Like every coach that's ever worked with Son has absolutely loved him, and that's like because the character he is. And I just think even the way Sonny went off at the last game when he was kind of not throwing a strop, but he was just a bit frustrated, obviously, with how he's performing. I just think he might give him another go. I think personally Richarlison should start, but listen, I don't see training sessions and I don't pick the team, so yeah, I would like Richarlison to start, but I don't think he will. I think he'll stick with Son for this game, but I think Richarlison will get more minutes this game. I think if we're 1-0 up, or even if we're 1-0 down, I think Conte will make changes sooner in the game than, he likes to 65, 70 minutes sometimes. I think he'll make them a lot sooner, maybe even around the 50-minute mark. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, I would imagine Sonny starts tomorrow.
No, that's a good shout. I mean, like Bobby said here, we have to remember they've only scored 1 goal in 4 games. So, James, to put it on its head, this could be maybe the perfect time for Sonny to get his confidence back if they're not really going to do much going forward.
Yeah, I think Bobby K's right, and I also think that Son loves a goal against West Ham. 2 goals in his last game against them. There's been memorable moments where he scored a long shot at Wembley as well. We will remember that one. He scores a lot of goals against West Ham. I think it's one of his more favourable opponents. So yes, you could obviously say that, but also building on what Darius said, I wouldn't be surprised if Richarlison may start, but I think Son will start just because of Conte's comments after the game. He says he would let Son marry his daughter. That's how much he loves the guy. It's almost his son. So I think he probably will let Son play again until maybe he takes that statement back. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Richarlison starts, but I think Son probably will get the nod.
100%. And before we move on to obviously the Fulham games, that's at the weekend as well, I want your score predictions for this one because I'm going to do it. So Dara, I'll come with you first. What's your score prediction?
Very boring, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 Spurs win.
I like it. It's not boring if we win. I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And you, James, what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I just did a preview on my channel. I've gone for the exact same 2-1 scraped win. But also, again, maybe we won't play amazing, but 3 points is all that matters. If we can get 13 points from 15, we would have taken that all day long at the start of the season. So just as long as we win, but I think it won't be like a thrashing. I think it will be a 2-1.
Definitely. And that's what we mean. I think it's going to be not a struggle, but it's going to be stressful. Mind you, watching Tottenham all the time is stressful. But yeah, a win is a win. So I'd take that. And like you said, if we were sitting in this position last season and you told me this was going to be this season, I'd take your hand off. So I'll have it. But obviously, that's the West Ham game.